Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and on today's video, you are reality, you are divinity, and you are destiny. Now, I had a very cool unpacking of an idea here, and the idea kind of started with this paradox called Zeno's paradox, and actually it's about specifically going to your end, the halfway points, creation, observation, that kind of thing. I'm just going to start with the paradox itself. You guys might be familiar with it, but you'll understand it as I express it. It's very simple. So basically this guy named Zeno, I'm not sure when this was, but the character in his paradox is Achilles, so it's probably quite a while ago. He argued that to reach any destination, you must first reach the halfway point. But before that, the halfway to the halfway and so on, infinitely. And at first glance, it seems like motion itself would never be possible. And you can think about this, you may have thought about it before. If you want to go to 10, you have to go to 5 first. But if you go to 5, then you end up at 2.5 and then so on and so forth. So you're basically halving where you're going each time. And if your destination seemingly is moving forward, you'll never actually reach it. And this is kind of how we feel in three-dimensional reality, where I want to be somewhere, but it seems forever that I always reach a halfway point and my destiny seems to be moving forward without me. Interesting idea, right? But here's the subtle point that I'm gonna shift this whole idea from. These halfway points, basically these points that we end up reaching, like the ones Zeno is implicitly describing in his statement, which is the halfway point, it's part of the path. Now, because our definition of this halfway point is as part of the path, in his statement and the way we think about reality, we are creating these points of not really exiting, but more like self-regulating and checking and evidence, and a certain amount of time went by. We're creating fictional points in our unpacking and unfolding of reality where, okay, something should have happened by now. Basically, he's a halfway point, some marker, but not necessarily the goal. And when you realize, okay, my calling forth an expression and focusing on this point, this halfway marker, this halfway point, this expression and triggering moment of reality, you realize the paradox kind of fall away because I'm the one focusing on these halfway steps. It doesn't ever prevent me from moving forward. Otherwise, how would you even get to your kitchen if you know there's a halfway point to your kitchen and then so on and so forth? It never prevents you from being the version of yourself that goes to your kitchen and does something. I know it's a very subtle thing, but I'm really trying to get to the heart of when we say go to your end, when it is said to go to your end, the very subtle things of where you are actually focusing is where your end is. You may be thinking, oh, that's my end, but I'm kind of focusing on maybe like 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, my next birthday. That's a typical one. Christmas is coming up, and you know the posts start flooding in. I am not spending Christmas with my specific person. I'm not spending New Year's with my specific person. The year is changing, and nothing seems to be changing other than the calendar. You see how we create these little minute moments. They're not bad, they're not good, they don't mean anything. I am saying allow those thoughts and feelings and emotions and circumstances and markers to just be there, knowing I'm choosing to return to knowing myself as that version of myself in that end, and I am him, them, her, whoever right now. That's what I am saying. Leave the marker, but realize that you may be focusing on the marker unintentionally. So now consider this in terms of, as I was saying, reality and manifestation. Moments and events and outcomes are discrete upon expression, as in they're not necessarily, they are created upon you focusing on it. Okay, So those moments, events, and outcomes, they pop up. Yeah, sure, that halfway point. It's imaginary, but obviously in a defined finite space that you are calling forth, you have a definite focusing of it. But I'm saying in an arbitrary, I'm going to my end, and some halfway point is whatever I declare, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever. That's your halfway point, and you're declaring this unintentionally or intentionally. So it comes up because of the expression of that. So they don't exist as prefixed frames until observed or actually interacted with. Just like in the story that this guy's paradox is expressing. His halfway points, our unconscious halfway points, they don't actually exist as those interactable, popping up intersections of reality, because we are including that definition from and as source itself. You see, those frames are literally shunted into reality for your experiencing of it because of the definable expression that we are giving it. In English, because we focus on some random point, the random point must be there. We say, oh, I'm not spending time with this person, or I don't have what I want and it's New Year's. We're creating that idea now. The physical expression may have you not having this physical expression for your New Year's, but it doesn't matter. It still exists right now, because every version of New Year's and Christmas and birthdays and every moment exists right now, superimposed with you. So the moment you are not physically experiencing that does not matter, but we make it matter because we predefined it before that, and now we are expressing and experiencing that moment. The halfway point that he was referring to, creating it in the paradox itself. Now, if you focus on these little mini goals or points as these endpoints, you can trigger those repeated cycles. Reaching the point after point without arriving at your true destination. And what's your true destination? Whoever you see yourself in and as your end of experiencing reality. So in other words, infinity, or these endless halfway points, they're not barriers to your wish fulfilled. It's just potential, and it's realized through conscious choice and observation. Here's a little visual on the paradox itself. So basically, the guy Achilles in this paradox, and the tortoise, he's going halfway, the tortoise is moving slightly forward. Goes halfway again, tortoise is moving slightly forward. You, desired end, your end is moving slightly forward in your assumption of it, and you are moving halfway toward it to some point. Then you say, at that point, you say, I haven't checked the 3D in this many days, and then and then you do it again, and you see how you never actually get to said tortoise. But if you just said, I am the one holding the tortoise, then you are. That's what unfolds. And you don't care about the unfolding, it just comes in naturally. Just like that image where when you realize it is you as the observer moving away or towards something you are creating, moving away from you, you are the one creating it in that way. And this is how it really looks. And this is kind of this unconscious thing that we sometimes do. You have an end goal. You know you have that end goal. You know you desire to be that. You're standing away from the tortoise, and your desired end is to be sitting on the tortoise, right? This is a fun example here. And then subtlety kind of creeps in, where you have a thought about, okay, I'll focus on this for some point, but I feel like at some point I'll just give up, and I feel the fear of that giving up, and I'll feel the fear of that giving up so much so that at some point I will end up just thinking about what is more natural or normal for me to be existing in and as, and that will be my experience in reality after some point if that other thing doesn't happen. And that's really what I'm afraid of. I am actually afraid of being the version of myself who wants to be this for so long that I will eventually naturally give up. And we have these subtle, however you phrase it, these subtle experiences of reality within us, these thoughts, these emotions, but they're not true. But if you believe in them, and realize what they truly are, another experience of reality, they don't actually define anything. Basically, what I was saying, right? You set a goal, I want to be this person, achieve this stage, reach this milestone, whatever it is. And along the way, you have this temporary endpoint. I'll wait this many years and then I'll feel settled, accomplished, or at ease. And then this halfway point comes about the goal within the goal, the achievable goal within your goal, the achievable goal, the achievable point, the achievable physicality of doing within the extraordinary expression of who you are. And we all think about things like that. We all feel that. It's like, I know I can run a marathon, but I really know I can go halfway. It's that, right? And then you reach it, you feel some relief. You may even unconsciously pause there, but this feeling of your end is getting away from you is still prevalent. And that's this halfway point trap where you think about it's going away so fast, so quickly from you, but you know that this other thing that is a little simpler, a little more normal, a little more adjacent to who you are is the achievable end. And you sometimes feel afraid that I'll relax into that. And it's okay to have the thought, it's okay to have the feeling, but know that I know right now is the only thing that matters, not what I feel in 2 years. That version of me that I'm projecting in 2 years' time, or however long, they don't actually exist outside of me thinking about it right here and right now. The only thing that matters is who I say I am right now. What do I right now believe myself to be? That's who I am. It's a choice. I choose to believe this. And here's the thing, we have many established ideas that are presented as objective truths. I've been expressing this in the past couple of videos. I'm just gonna touch on it here. Observation and creation are inherently subjective. I don't care who said what to you, even me. It's still a subjective point of view. That is the point. The only objective view about reality is that everybody's going to have a subjective one. It doesn't matter how many people agree with me or don't agree with me. It's all subjective anyway. I disagree with this. That's amazing. That's another subjective view of I am awareness. Great. I agree with this. Great. That's just another expression of I am awareness. Couldn't care for the guy. Amazing. Just another subjective expression of I am awareness. And the only objective expression is that all of these expressions exist. Because that's just simple. It's an inarguable idea. Yes, all of these things exist. You can't deny it existing. You can say, I don't want it to exist, and that's completely irrelevant to it in and of itself existing. And we label these things, but it doesn't mean that the label is true. It doesn't mean that the label is true, right? Because something universal is reality itself, but all the labels don't matter to reality being whatever it wants to be in the moment. And the only thing it wants to be is whatever you're being. So, in your participating in the creative process of your experience, understand that halfway points, temporary goals, all of these things, they are labels. Just like the label suffering. Remember, suffering is the English contextual word that we blanketed to certain aspects of reality. It doesn't necessarily mean that whatever text is referring to the word, whatever they are referring to, does not necessarily mean it's the one-to-one translation of suffering. Because if you translate suffering to something else, which is a little bit more adjacent to it, which has limitation, then not to overwrite the teaching, but to express it in a way that resonates with my specific lived experience. And here's the thing about suffering. You can suffer anything. But when you start suffering other people's suffering, or you start suffering things you're supposed to be suffering and you just don't, then why are you suffering it in the first place? When you recognize, I don't actually feel like suffering this. you just don't. That's quite a funny thing, actually. And so, now understand this, right? These halfway points, these mini goals, the temporary markers, these natural feeling as if I'll give up after this many years, those are all natural, not natural, these are all normal thoughts to your three-dimensional experience of what you have experienced thus far physically. They don't matter, okay? They are not the end. They are only expressions of who you are being right now. They do not matter whatsoever. The true goal becomes knowing that what I have decided is who I am. This end point that I am expressing, I know it's not an end point because I understand that even in my imaginational scene, there are moments after it. I'm just not consciously calling forth that moment. I'm calling forth this little tidbit. This is who I am. This is the full expression of who I am right here and right now. Everything going on in the scene is exactly who I am. That's my end. That's who I am. And this end exists right here and right now because as awareness, this is who I am. I am assuming the absolute truth that this is created from my very beingness, for my experiencing and expressing of it. My assumption is that my imagining of it is my being it. It's who I am being right now. So I defined my end consciously. My energy and my focusing, my intention, my power, all of it is flowing into and as that end, and I'm experiencing it reflected back to me. That's who you are. These halfway points, these thoughts, these little triggers, these whatever, they don't define anything. So go to your end and stay there. Every little halfway point, every little checkpoint, every little marker, every little date that comes and goes, they don't matter. Because you recognize your ultimate destination and you're committed to it. You are loyal to your end, as NevilleGoddard says. Loyal to your end means I'm loyal to the idea that this is who I am right now. That's what it means. And halfway points may arise, thoughts may arise, but they are just part of the ongoing process of you experiencing the three-dimensional version of you. They're not the destination. They are just thoughts along the journey of the destination. So step fully into your end and let the rest flow naturally. So just to leave it with something, what are you assuming to be true about yourself, your physical self, your awareness of your physical self, and the reality that you occupy, and are now understanding that the reality that you occupy is actually happening within you and you are occupying it to experience it. There is no voice that will tell you or us or anyone who you are. There are voices that pop up that are automatic sometimes, but they are not you. They are expressions of you. There's no lasting emotional signal to latch onto, because no matter how good you feel right now about your wish fulfilled, it's not an indication of anything. It's a natural feeling to feel good, to feel elated, to feel knowing that no matter how I feel, I am good. And sometimes you feel physically good. Sometimes you don't. So those two things do not contradict each other, but because they don't mean anything. There's no rule book. No matter how many books that have rules in them. There's no lifestyle. You are the definition of whatever lifestyle is. There's no fixed marker that shows you the way. No matter how many signs or synchronicities or serendipities, or how many times you scream I am into the ether, you know nothing is permanent, and you don't want things to be permanent because you want it to keep flowing. Nothing is concrete, otherwise you would never be able to choose a version of reality from any point. Everything is shifting moment to moment, flowing as the experiencing of who you are. And I am flowing as your host, Reese. This is Virtual Reality with Reese. I am your host. Thank you all for being here. Much love, much love. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the answers. Thank you for the thank you for the comments. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for emailing. Thank you for joining the TikTok page. Thank you for following the Facebook page. So quite a few followers now, because that's amazing. Thank you for following my specific page as well. And thank you for joining the Facebook group as well. I will see you all in the next one. Much love, much light, and have a nice day.